And welcome. It is May 7th, 2019. We're going to react to Smackdown of the same night. This is Smarkdown, episode 397. Tonight we had a bunch of different things, mainly women's tag match. That's kind of a blow-off to the Money in the Bank competitors. We only had 3 out of the 4 for both men and women. Daniel Bryan, Rowan, back from obscurity. They have some importance. And seemingly no middle ground. Kofi just has to operate on open challenge wildcard rules. And we're going to talk about all of it. Let's mark out.
We are going to watch Battlegrounds, drink some Diet Pepsis, and talk about the Ascension.
I'm not angry. What the?
The longest-running weekly overproduced, under-talented, episodic, sometimes echoing, often infighting wrestling podcast. As I said before in the cold open, this is Smarkdown. I am your host, Adam Baum. I will guide you through tonight's reaction. You know, May 7th, 2019 is not going to go down as anything in wrestling history. It'll definitely probably be forgotten maybe within a few weeks. What won't be forgotten is that while my 2 normal co-hosts kind of thing, Bob and Bryan, are off celebrating anniversaries, I got somebody on the wide table line to join me instead. What's going on, Vice?
Yo, what's happening?
Oh,
not here, guys.
I got to figure out. Yeah, you seem a little loud. I'll fix that. But he decided that this shit show was worth joining me on to discuss tonight. We got some key ingredients. We're going to talk about that. We're going to do some awards. We're going to tease a little bit. I said this is episode 397. I'm sure some of you can guess what I'm going to tease at the end of the show. But before I do that, I want to introduce the board, our YouTube Live, Facebook Live, and Twitch chat boards. Looks like we got Bang Bus, Stike Leather. I'm sure some others will trickle in because they couldn't join the chat early because our executive producer didn't do his job.
What you need to make a good Smackdown is your 3 key ingredients.
Tonight's SmackDown was so good, we needed 4 ingredients. That's right, 4 ingredients. Number 1, no middle ground. Number 2, Money in the Bank Michigas. Number 3, over to Rover. And then, of course, we got number 4. That's just going to be too obvious.
Number 1,
no middle ground. So, Vice, Kofi Kingston's going to be one of the 3 guys, AJ, Daniel Bryan, there might have been more, I just stopped counting, that had to work both nights this week. He's kind of on an open challenge rule with the WWE heavyweight title. Last night in a singles match, tonight in a triple threat. Are they just trying to fuck with the audience and make you think that they're going to kill his title reign at any time?
Seems like that. That's the vibe I got from it. I mean, when I was watching, I was basically like, and this guy's carrying a whole freaking buttload of work. What the hell is he doing? And I kind of questioned what they were going to do with the whole Kevin Owens thing. And then they pulled the segment in that followed the whole, segment between AJ, Sammy, and Kofi. And it just made no sense. And I basically went back to the wild card, and I was like, this is just weird.
And what made no sense is it seemingly told the story, since you brought up Sammy and AJ coming out as well, as the first 2 of the 4 superstars allowed to jump ship in the wild card. But it seemed like they, as soon as that promo ended, should have had a match, AJ and Sammy, to determine who would face Kofi one-on-one later in the night. Now, don't get me wrong. I have no problem with the triple threat match that we closed with. I thought it was good. I like Kevin Owens only killing Xavier Woods and not getting involved with the match. I thought that was a good little subtext to the story. What I didn't like was Kofi. I don't know. He seemingly was good in the promo at times, and then he was bad at others. It felt like I couldn't tell if the good parts were him just being organic and the bad were scripted, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Did that feel off to you too?
It definitely did. And you know what's weird is I feel like his promos, it sounds like he's trying too hard sometimes. It's like he's like rushing and just pushing his voice. It's weird, man. I don't know if anyone else hears that, but
I think it was at times
so fake.
I'm sure he, as the champ right now, has to at least be getting some tutoring, some stuff back there. Maybe he's just a little nervous. Soji's joining us, said, Adam Solo, where's Bryan? As I said in the open, Bryan had to take care of some business. Him and Bob both got wifed, even though Bryan's not married. It's just a Tuesday anniversaries or whatever. Stike has got the next part of this topic he's talking about on the board. He says, speaking of wild card, they only had 4 people, but tonight I counted 5. Stike, check the tape. They did the exact same thing last night. So why the fuck are you even putting a cap on the number and then you turn around and introduce a 5th? Miz was number 5 tonight because you count Usos as 3 and 4. I don't remember the 5 last night, but there was 5. And now what? You're just breaking down the roster? So many guys were not featured tonight that should have been, that were on the roster. I mean, they could have done so much more. What they did tonight, SmackDown was 100% devoted to the Money in the Bank, men's and women's, the tag, which they teased all day online, and I mean this topic, which is out of the blue, and Kevin Owens' birthday. He's not really involved. This, I guess it was to sell the drama. Did you think, Vice, that Sammy was going to win ever in this match? Did you ever feel like that was going to happen?
No, but when I was watching the match and he pulled off the third, whatever the fuck that thing is called, the
Blue
Phoenix,
Thunder
whatever.
Bomb, buddy. Blue Thunder Bomb. Come on.
Blue Thunder Bomb, yeah. I was like, and then I kind of was like, all right, he kicked out. It's over.
Yeah.
But I gotta say 2 things. I gotta say, speaking on Stike's comment about the 5 people, are we supposed to just forget about people interfering on the other show and not getting suspended? Do you remember that? When they said that if anyone interferes, they're going to get fired or suspended?
Was that like going? That was going into Survivor Series and stuff when it was brand versus brand, though, right? That was the last time it was mentioned.
They even fucking specified, man.
Yeah, I don't. I'm sure. Here's the thing: WWE changes fucking weekly. Because the final points that I'll make on this topic before we move on, I'll also check on the board because I don't hate them like Rob does. But the biggest thing here is they've basically said we're going to put title matches all over the place. Maybe these wild card guys that are jumping from show to show will come win, but you have contenders on that show. Why are you letting other people just come in? Why are you not booking? Why are you double booking people like AJ, Kofi, and Daniel Bryan this week instead of utilizing some people who were not on at all? The graphic online, hell, I'll just go to the board before I get to this segue. On the board, real quickly, Stike says, I think with Kofi's WWE Championship run, they're making it look like Cena's U.S. Open Challenge. Yep, that's what I led with. Good comparison and echo. Bang Bus says some of the guys left early for the European tour, so they based it off the Raw guys coming. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. But you also just came off your worst ratings ever, so you're going to come up with another gimmick. If they ever did strike gold lately, I don't think they know how to stick with it. I don't think they could see it through. And then Soji said Seth needed to show up tonight and have one of the first matches against Andrade. That would have been fun to watch. Soji, you're right. They said that last night, and they didn't do it. And the 5th man last night was Elias. So maybe it's if you're involved with Shane McMahon, you don't count as the 5th man, Stike. Maybe that's what it is. Let's just do it.
Number 2.
The Money in the Bank match participants for the men. We had what I thought was a great match. Unfortunately, I had to watch most of it in a damn thumbnail. But Ali and Andrade, the battle of the who got their name shortened worse gimmick, and they both had pre-match promos. Zelina cut hers as they were walking down, or for Andrade and her as they were walking down the ramp. But the video one before, this is before we even get to the match, because it was so weird to me. The video one for Ali was extremely, I don't even have the words, but it was all about the light. It felt very preachy, very culty, like I'm going to pray to a sun god or something. I don't know, like when the light comes up and then the light will usher me in and the light will teach me to fight and the light. And I stopped taking notes at some point because it was like cliche upon cliche of nothing but light. And they never said anything about less filling.
It's fucking terrible, dude. I mean, I like his off-air promos and stuff like that. I don't know about this one. He said the light too much. I agree.
Yeah, and this is also the guy who looks like an electric version of Sub-Zero. He looks like Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat mated with Dynamo from Running Man. That's what he looks like to me. I know they had a Sub-Zero there, but he didn't have all the lights. Daniel Price on the board. Wild card is code for brand split ending, but Vince doesn't have the balls to say it outright. Vince wants fuck all to do with the oversaturation and mainly top recognizable people. So, I don't know. I said years ago when they brought the brand split and the overabundance of belts back, it was a bad idea. Guess what? It was a bad idea. Daniel Price said, nobody's arguing with you. I don't think that the belts are the reason, not to get off topic too much here, but I don't think the belts are the reason they're failing. I don't think the oversaturation of belts or push to the top of the talent. I don't think anybody's place is bad if you're used right. If you have legit mid-carders fighting for the U.S. title and the IC title constantly, then that's a good storyline. That's a good chase. The mid-carders that aren't going after, the main eventers that aren't going after the top belt, they need to be in grudge feuds. For whatever it is, they just need to be having feuds with other top guys that aren't going after the belt. And then you have a legit tag division. The fact that there is no divisions anymore, to me, has the ripple effect in the dominoes that is what sets off everything. You put in Frankensteins way too often. It's fun every now and again as a transition champion, something like that. But you don't need all these Frankensteins going down there. How many times has the guy that lost the big belt title gone down and won the division title? I mean, we're going to talk about that in topic 3, but now we have one that went from the big belt to the tag division. They don't seem to know what they're doing, and so there's no rhyme or reason. And that is what topic 2 is, to get me back on track. Segue. Ali and Andrade, I get it. I get the entire thing of you cannot book the end of it, Vice. You have to have nobody win, so Randy interferes. What I don't get is then you have Randy openly RKO them both and then stand tall.
Stand tall. Same thing I was thinking, dude.
Why?
So weird. It just makes no sense. I was talking to my brother about it as the match was going on because I'm a big Almas fan. Like, you've always known that. And I said, what the fuck are they doing? And he said, I do think that a lot of the problems with WWE are that the plots and stories and the devices feel super recycled. I'm like, extremely. It's just so recycled. It's over and over again. They don't know what to do. They don't know who to push. They don't know what the fans really want. Yeah, it's just bad.
What I imagine could have been,
it was a good match.
Exactly, and it could have had Randy screw the ending, and then they could have had both Andrade and Ali do their finishers on Orton. Not him lay waste to two guys. And they didn't have to be on the same team when they did it. They needed something. Daniel Price says they need a power ranking system to make contenders look more legit. I like the if it's I think Rob was pointing this out. If it's done really, really old school, the way they used to back in the WWE Wrestling magazine days, when every month you would see the new contenders in there. When they tried to do that bullshit on TV for 3 weeks, ranking system, they had tag teams and women and men, and they were all faces only on there. It's just crazy. And Soji is talking about Buddy confusing Bang Bus. I assume he means 205 Live. Justin says 5 of a kind wild card night. Yep, he's joining us over on Twitch. I don't have much to say here. We were missing, of course, one participant in Money in the Bank from them. I'm not sure why he didn't come out as well at the end, but that is that a missed opportunity, Vice?
I don't really think so. I mean, the match was kind of short-lived by the thumbnail of it being in the corner of my fucking commercial the whole time.
Right.
I kind of was just sitting there, and I'm like what you said, I wanted to love this match, and I did enjoy what I saw, but it was over by the time you knew it.
And now that you say that, the one thing before we move on, I'm looking through my notes. I forgot the potential new name of Andrade should he win. He will be El Señor Dinero El Cebanco. Is that right? I don't speak Spanish.
It's El Señor Dinero en el Banco.
En el Banco. I like it. I like it. Finn was in Ireland and not at the arena. Yeah, Finn had a little camera of him in the countryside or whatever promo. Stike said that on the board. I just wanted to address it because we're not going to talk about Finn. What we are going to talk about is
Number 3.
Number 3, over to Rover. What I mean by that is this guy, the new Daniel Bryan, was a breath of fresh air last, whatever it was, end of last year when he, I guess, debuted this character all the way to WrestleMania. And we haven't seen him since. Now, normally, after you lose your belt, you come back and he should be fighting Finn Balor for the IC title, right? Wrong. He's going to just get handed tag belts, and eventually Shane decides, go ahead and fight Usos who aren't even on this show. That made no sense. What made further no sense is that the Usos, in their promo, start reciting all the people who have beaten them. That made no fucking sense. Why would you go to Pop Test for all the people who took your titles, some of whom are not even teams anymore? I know the Bar is freshly not a team, but they were all over the place. I don't want to shit on them, and because they at least have some hype and excitement to them. I enjoyed that match. The match was very entertaining for what it was, but it also was what it was. I mean, Rowan can't really do much with that kind of offensive guys, and if they want to get too high flying, Daniel can't catch them. So am I bitching for no reason, Vice? Or
no,
being
you're not.
nitpicky?
And when I was watching this match, I basically felt this way, that it was a really good match. I thought it was really well executed. No botches, no nothing. A little bit of a spot fest in certain parts, but it was good. But I couldn't help but realize the Usos are coming over to try and win the belts. And I'm like, this wild card shit makes no sense because we already know the outcome. We know the outcome of the last match, that Kofi was going to win, and we knew the outcome of this match, that the Usos were going to lose.
Well,
This is why this wild card thing made no sense. It's like,
and I said it earlier.
It's not connected.
You have contenders that you could find in your own roster. I really wanted to dive into this in this fucking segment because there was a graphic on WWE earlier today, WWE.com, that says, who do you think, it was a tease for tonight's show with Shane, who do you think will be the new tag team champions? It showed a graphic of 4 teams. Showed Kofi and Xavier as New Day. Okay, that's not a Frankenstein, that's a team. It showed Nak and Rusev, they've been together enough to call them a team now. They don't have a name yet, like the Bar. They're still Cesaro, but they're there. And then you have two legit teams. You have Heavy Machinery. They dress alike. They've been a team forever. And then you have the B team. And that was the graphic. Not fucking one of them was mentioned. Hell, all we saw was Tucky and Otis make some weird low fucking talk back in the back. Hey, Tucky. Look, belts went by. And the icing on the cake is that Daniel Bryan and Rowan were kind of insulting the belts, which are ugly as fuck, saying that we might get new ones. So the payoff to all of this is really just to get new belts, right?
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
Let's check in with the board, see if they have anything different to assess here. I think the Usos should have won. Then you have a unification match and merge the fucking tag division. Stike said, we're going to get there. Don't blow your wad all at once. Vince is going to let this simmer if he's smart, because he doesn't have any patience anymore with anything else. Daniel Price says, haven't really watched anything lately other than the G1 Supercard. Everything else I've just been reading. I hear a Benny Hill montage in my head playing as I read, as I read what was happening, because Vince is just a clown. Wolf dodged a bullet by going to NXT UK because they're talking about Sanity not being there. Yeah, you could have put those 4 teams that you advertised there. Kofi didn't need to defend the title tonight. He didn't need to have 2 Raw guys out there. One who was getting made fun of for smelling like a dumpster. I know this is going to sound shocking because there was a women's tag match on the card tonight. But there were 4 good matches. Not going to say great. Not going to say classics. Nothing like that. There were 4 good matches tonight. And most of the storyline did not support it. And before I move on to 4, since we were talking about these tag titles, after they win them, after this segment's over, after they go to commercial, Shane's in the ring with both briefcases to tell us how dangerous the match is and basically just stand around and wait for Miz to come and they can reenact what they did yesterday on security cams. Does anybody want this feud to continue? I didn't care when it was starting in the crown jewel best in the world bull crap. Like this is a Miz killer to me. I loved everything about Miz for a long time until this angle. And Crown Jewel, what was that, before Survivor Series?
Yep.
So they have tied
Overdone.
his character up for this
recycled
so long. Even Thanos would have truly taken out Mrs. Dad and just finished it by now. I don't know. I saw that meme and I still laugh about it. Justin says, here come the tag team hemp belts. Yep, that's going to happen. Ali Finn laughing my ass off. Bang Bus. I don't know what he's talking about there. Rumor is Killian Dane's going to be moved back down to NXT. Yeah, I saw that. That is, I believe, a good rumor and a good thing for him. It's weird, though, because his wife is Nikki Cross, and I don't know what they're doing with her because she doesn't seem to be anywhere. I pray that this ends at Money in the Bank in the steel cage match. He's talking about Daniel Bryan. Excuse me, he's talking about Miz and Shane. I pray it ends there, too. I think the further you go, you are hurting Miz. And what I heard even worse is that Shane is potentially going to go get the title at some point. That is horrible. Oh. So that then, Roman can win it from Shane is what's going to happen. Because then they think the fans will cheer if that happens. I'm serious.
I see it happening.
I'm serious too. I think that is their end game. I know that's another Marvel reference there, but I think that's their plan. Is if cancer and all this other stuff can't get Roman over, we'll have Shane win the belt. Everybody will flip the fuck out all over social media, and they'll beg for Roman to take it from him. Haha! By God, that's a great idea. And you know what? I bet you, just like you said, Vice, that's going to happen.
It is.
Book that shit.
4.
Number 4, too obvious. Women Money in the Bank tag match. Yeah, it happened. It was a good match. It did nothing for me. It didn't tell a story. It didn't anything. You know what else it didn't do? it didn't become a real topic. Sorry.
We're going to give you what you want. Something new, something fresh. In the coming weeks and months, you will be seeing new...
Recorded live from the White Table Studios, it's the Smarky Awards.
All right, for those of you playing at home, let me remind you what they are. Marked Out Award, Best Match, Well, That Sucked, LOL, and the Pink Slip. Remember, the Pink Slip is for tonight only. Vice, you are the guest. I am going to let you kick it off. What is your Marked Out Award?
My Marked Out was when Ali did the Spanish Fly, Ali on Owens. I thought that was just well executed. It looked dope. It was sick.
I didn't mention it.
He always pulls off a really good Spanish Fly, Ali. He's good.
Yeah, he's solid pretty much, pole to pole. My thing about it is I hated the thumbnail most of all because I couldn't hear the crowd. And then when they came back, he wasn't even there. Like there was nobody. I know they said they were in Kentucky. At the time, I was like, are we fucking back in Paducah? And then they announced that it was Louisville. And, of course, the crowd came alive later on during the Daniel Bryan and Rowan match, which was surprising. The Usos brought him alive, but the Andrade and Ali didn't. That's insane. Teddy! What's going on?
Oh, man. I have no idea what's going on.
My Marked Out Award is going to be when they revealed that Daniel Bryan was going to be in the tag division. We last week... If there weren't that graphic and counting New Day without Big E, I can't name you 4 tag teams on SmackDown before I saw that graphic online today to see who's going to be in the division. And you might as well put him in this. Kofi appears to be going to have a lengthy run, at least a little bit. I'm not going to say he's like going to run for a year, even to SummerSlam, but he's not losing it immediately, it looks like. Maybe I'm wrong. It's not going to be to Daniel Bryan for sure. So this is a good fit for him. Rowan has nothing else going for him if he's not there. So why not do this for a little while so that he's more than just a heavy? I don't see anything wrong with it. So I kind of marked out for it. I like that spot for him. Let's see. Stike says, I agree with Vice. The Spanish Fly was just great. Him and Charlotte have 2 of the best Spanish Flies. Charlotte has
in the business right now.
Yeah, in a different way.
Great.
Justin says same thing. Everybody's all over the Spanish Fly. And then Marked Out for Soji, he says Bryan becoming tag champ, so he agrees with me. He said adding more to his resume and still make him relevant. I want to, guys on the board, we're going to move on to the next award. But if you want to throw it out there, I want to name now the tag team of Daniel Bryan and Rowan. My name that I came up with was call him eco-friendly. That's it. Just eco-friendly. Berto, welcome back on the board. Haven't seen him in a while. He said, what the hell is going on with this company? Just when you don't think they can make any more mind-boggling decisions, they outdo themselves. Yep. Sums it up. You haven't missed anything. And Bangba says his Marked Out is TakeOver, June 1st. Remy says, where's Roman? He wasn't here. That's probably the best thing about tonight. Best matches where
they gave him a segment, right?
They gave him that recap
segment.
video that went back to his debut in 2012. That's what they gave him instead of being on tonight.
So strange. It looked like something they would put before like a WrestleMania match. It's a Tuesday night SmackDown. What are you doing?
And it was a long promo. Like I felt like he was getting ready to like come out and retire, or he was making a comeback, or this was, it was more than just a normal like promo of the week. So we got best match. I'm going to do that, Vice. Then I'll go to you and the board. Mine was the thumbnail shortened name battle. Andrade and Ali. I liked the match, even with the ending with Orton. I'm not so keen on after the ending with him standing tall, but I liked it enough to give myself a coin. What do you got? Best match?
Got the Daniel Bryan Rowan versus the Usos. It's pretty cool, you know.
It it got the fans to
Big
finally
rap.
cheer.
Yeah.
And let's be honest. I mean, Bryan works well with the Usos. They can wrestle. I did think at one point the spot was very kick check crazy, but the icing on the cake, Rowan getting the pin, not Daniel Bryan, I thought was a good for him. He won them the title.
I wonder though, you get Rowan, and I always look at it and I'm like, Rowan's not good on the mic. He's not anything.
Yeah, he belongs just answering your door like Lurch.
No doubt. I'm not a hater, so I do like to appreciate anybody who's trying in wrestling, because you know what they do with talent. They just bury them. But I look at Harper, who's not even fucking relevant and was denied his release. And when Vince was asked why, he said, "What do you mean? That guy can't even give us a Southern accent. Why wouldn't you just use Harper in this role?"
Yeah, it
makes no sense.
Especially since I don't know when the debut of Rowan with him happened, but he's been Harper's been cleared since February. Bryan just likes that he wears metal shirts. He had a Mon a Marathon tonight, so. That's all that matters there.
Hailstorm shirts.
Yeah. Soji agrees with me. He says Andrade and Ali was best match. Let's see. Stike agrees with you. Berto says this is worse than Russo WCW, but NXT keeps it from being Shockmaster bad. And Roddy and Gargano was best match for Bang Bus, so he's got something there. He's talking, of course, about last week, not what's going to air tomorrow. And I would agree. They did have a great match, but I ran out of time in my minute and didn't even talk about it last week. Next up, real quick, well, that sucked. LOL and Pink Slip. For me, well, that sucked was, I already said it, so I'm not going to go into detail, but WWE teasing the real tag teams online as potential champs tonight. I think it sucked for them. I think it sucked for the division. I think you could have done something different where maybe Shane was a full-on dick and had a fatal four-way with those guys, and then instead of handing them the belts, he goes, "Oh, you got one more match against these guys," and then Daniel Bryan and Rowan come out and kill him. Something more creative, but whatever. Stike says Rowan, he's correcting me, he says Rowan debuted with Bryan at the Royal Rumble. So what? So 2 weeks early? They could have waited for Harper. I don't know.
It was literally 2 weeks. Yeah, so I was just thinking, like, their return from injury was around the same time.
Yeah, Daniel Price says the reason why he's sitting on Harper's contract proves the sumbitch loves stereotypes. I think he's just being a fucking ass. Honestly, I think he's just being spiteful on certain guys that didn't want to re-sign or aren't accepting or taken to the public to air their grievances, if you will. Soji says, Adam, just have the WC be different stars weekly between both brands. Then it will work, including the women, but the same people will kill the WC. What's he talking about? What's the WC? I have no idea. I don't know what he means by WC. Anyway, which year will that suck, Vice?
I was thinking, dude, there was like three things I really wanted to say, but the one thing I hated was last night when I was watching Raw, it seemed like AJ was going to bring someone out tonight. Because he said to Vince's face, "Oh, if people could show up tonight and help him, well, maybe I got a little, special thing tomorrow if I show up." And no one came to help him tonight. No club, no nothing.
Well, the club were too busy watching Revival itch their pants last night to make an appearance tonight. Well, that sucked on the board. Vince blaming everybody for ratings except himself. That sucks for Bang Bus. What else we got over there? Well, that sucked. Fucking wild card rule. That's for Stike. Yeah, no shit. Wild card, Adam. That sucked. No Seth. Wasted opportunity. That's for Soji. I agree. Soji said this last night, by the way. He said, he called it. He goes, yeah, Seth. That means Seth's going to be on tonight. You think they didn't do it. They didn't pull the trigger. They could have made this a four-way, put Seth in there, get a little more eyes on it. I know they're trying to grasp at straws, so why not grasp at that one too? Just take the whole fucking thing with you. LOL for me. I don't know if you caught this, Vice, but the Usos basically, and I'm not speaking verbatim, but they basically said that they got a permission slip from their cousin to be on SmackDown Live tonight.
Yeah, they did. They exactly said that.
This is Roderick Strong. I approve this message.
Oh, even Roddy agrees with me. Well, that sucked for Justin. He says Shane Miz part duo. I don't even know what fucking part it is anymore. And his LOL was the Usos. What is your LOL?
Hands down, the awkward fucking backstage promo with Matt Hardy when he looks at Lars for like 3-4 real seconds, and then he goes, "It's him." That was so funny, dude. I was like, that had me dying. I'm like, that was so bad that it was funny.
Yeah, was he waiting for them to take pictures with that pose? I agree. I don't know. It was very, very weird. Daniel Price says Seth's death spiraling fast. Vince is having Brock remorse. God. LOL Stike on the board. Triple H taking a shot at Vince on Twitter for the poor ratings. Oh, when I get off air, I need to go look at that. I missed that. Or Stike, if you want to put what he said, let me know. And LOL, the way Matt squared up when he saw Lars. Bang Bus agreeing with you, Vice. And Justin agreed with me. Final is Pink Slip. Why don't you go first, Vice? Final award is the Pink Slip. Remember, it's for tonight only. Who deserves it?
Jesus. I mean...
No, not Jesus.
I guess Ember and Carmella, because I just don't... Kind of like you, man. I'm like, I just don't care about the women's division. It's just all over the place, especially on the SmackDown roster. Like, everyone besides Becky and Charlotte, I don't give a shit about any of them. It's hard, too, because the way they book them.
And it feels like they left the talent there. No Becky, no Charlotte, no Bayley. Nobody worth the fuck was there tonight. Oh, but they finally let Paige talk for the what is their name? We could come up with their name, too. I don't know. Pink Slip on the board for Stike. He says Miz versus Shane just ended already. Are you giving the feud the Pink Slip or both of them? Berto says Pink Slip everyone. Close the fucking company. Justin says Shane gets his Pink Slip. My Pink Slip is going to go to Corey Graves. He's trying to sell me a ketchup popsicle while I'm wearing white gloves tonight with his hype about the wild card rule. The way he tried to sell it repeatedly, the stupid shit he was like, this is amazing. This can happen any night. Really? Yeah. People can jump the line of fucking contenders anytime they want. Why not? Soji. Soji said, same thing. Pink Slip the Miz and Shane feud. I'm sick of it. Featuring that turtle, Mr. Mizanin. Ouch. Daniel Price, hey there, fella. Let me take off this jacket and we'll engage in some fisticuffs. Matt Hardy. I saw a pic of him with George Mizanin squared up with him. Oh, that would be great meme. They're the two people. He did look like the Miz's dad, the way he put up his, like, dukes. And Bangba says, Pink Slip everyone who asks for the release. Let them be free. That's not a bad one, right, Vice? Why not let him go?
It's not. Did you see the guy in the stands tonight who was dressed like Hulk Hogan? He looked like Mrs. Dad.
I did.
Dude,
I saw the Hulk Hogan.
He was on camera the entire night.
Oh, there he is. Yes, I see
guy.
him just now as you said that. He was on camera the whole night because they just showed him. I looked up at the
like
screen.
Mrs. Dad in cosplay.
That is freaking horrible. Wow. Let me do a couple quick plugs here, and then we'll get to board if you want to have some dirt sheet to talk about. No Bryan here. I did not get you any. But I want to talk about our, I guess, plugs here. Twitter, Marked Out Podcast at Smart Mark Show. Facebook, Marked Out. Email, markedoutpodcast at Gmail. The Y Table fan line is 704-444-0084. Patreon.com/markedoutwrestling. Collar and Elbow. Get some good wrestling swag courtesy of Al Snow's company, Collar and Elbow. You can save 10%, including clearance items, using the code MarkedOut, all caps. And let's see what else. Don't forget to go to markedoutgear.com. Bryan is working on a couple new shirts. We're getting ready to debut. But you can just get the shirts that support the podcast or the Monday Night DVR. Check the tape. I believe we even have like onesies if you want to put your baby in marked out gear. That'd be fun. Babies can hear the podcast. It's got to be better than watching this wrestling nonsense that they put on each week. I want
to
to
make my dog's outfit.
Yeah.
Make dog outfits.
Anaconda Vice, now, you could be one of these guys. I know you're on the show tonight with me, but you could be one of these guys that answers the open challenge that Rob put out there for Monday Night Rawsome. Now, this is not just an open challenge for Rob. I mean, you could challenge Bryan, you could challenge whatever. And keep in mind, we're not like, oh, we have to win. We want to have a good discussion. So we're not looking to shit all over you. This isn't going to be like the way we treat Bob or the way Rob and Bob interact constantly like oil and water. We're hoping for some good discussions out of this. So you can respond to those open challenges at Mark Show on Twitter, or email us, markedoutpodcast@gmail.com, or IG. Brian's not here. I'm old. I don't even have IG, so I'm totally breaking fourth wall on this. I don't even know what our thing is. I'm such a bad person. Daniel Price says, Velveteen Dream versus Jay Lethal in a Hogan versus Savage dark match. Book it. That would be awesome. I would love that. Soji says the wild card could be saved on Raw if Randy fights Seth. Why? Soji, I'm not disagreeing with you that Randy fighting Seth wouldn't be a potentially good match or whatever. They're blowing their wad. By now, abandoning the superstar shakeup and having all these one-offs, you can't build feuds on them. There's just nowhere to go but down. You've already had that. It's just you can't do that. It's not going to work. Soji says I can do it. What's the call-in number? 704-444-0084. That's to get in live on the show. Send the email and Rob will schedule with you because we'll just do a tape segment so that we can air it at a different time so you don't have to be live. You don't have to be waiting on the line or waste your time. Bang Bus pointing out, glad Lethal didn't sign with WWE. Yeah, and yes and no. I would have loved to see him on NXT, but the way they've misused everybody else, we haven't seen Eric Young except for a graphic. He's hanging out with Luke Harper somewhere. They're going to be how funny would it be if Eric Young and Luke Harper were to fight Daniel Bryan and Rowan? Like, that'd be a real feud. That'd be hysterical, right? Sure.
Be awesome.
What we missed tonight that we didn't talk about is Matt. I felt Matt and Truth, the way they attacked Lars. I'm going to pull a Bryan tonight. The way they attacked Lars tonight made them look like Orange Cassidy. And Aleister Black, he stole Mojo's gimmick of hanging out just by himself talking in black and to nobody. But he also wants to talk in riddles. And then he seemingly was like talking like a pastor, not so much a wrestler. I mean, not even so much the way Bray was had religious undertones. Like, he full on had religious undertones. I'm Jewish. Did I read that wrong, Vice?
Are you really Jewish?
Yeah. Are you kidding me? I'm the Jew that leads the crew. What?
No, you didn't read it wrong, but did you see what they did with Mojo Rawley? Did you see what his fucking new gimmick actually is? Like, he has a puzzle piece on his eye, comes out with a black hood. I was wondering, because someone on Twitter was like, where the fuck did this Mojo Rawley, I don't know myself, shtick, like, what happened with it? He ended up debuting on Main Event.
Yeah, he broke the mirror, and I guess that shattered that was the last time we saw him on the main roster with a stupid promo. Justin says, one of the reasons Eli Drake was fired from Impact was because he didn't want to do an intergender match with Tessa Blanchard. That's a shame. Tessa's a real good wrestler. I would have done that. That's some dirt sheet there for Justin. Mojo gimmick is literally his hype gimmick with face paint, Bangba says. So they've done a 180, 360, whatever, all the way back. They re-aired Firefly Funhouse. That was fun tonight. I'm calling it now. Matt and R-Truth versus Lars on Money in the Bank kickoff is what Stike says. Stike, since you say that, I don't know, Vice, your full on history here, but as I was watching Lars kill Matt Hardy in Truth, it made me think of when Brock debuted. Brock's first feud was with the Hardys. I don't know if anybody remembers.
Yeah.
He killed them individually, then he killed them together in his pay-per-view debut. They were a handicap match, and he destroyed them. I believe it was even the curtain jerk. I think it was the first
Full
match.
circle.
But yeah, that, and here, full circle, 20 fucking years later, Lars is doing the same thing. Should have been to Jeff, but they just inserted R-Truth instead. Yeah, why did Matt come back for this? Is what I gotta ask.
That was the dumbest shit I've seen. The whole thing tonight was okay, but this was just dumb. The Lars thing was just dumb. You had Vince showing up last night, having his little segment. I got to just talk about this real quick, is that Lars comes in the room, he stares him down, blah, 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 says he's going to show up tomorrow. And his whole thing tonight was to just body R-Truth and Matt Hardy. That was so dumb. It was a waste of Lars. You're making him look so stupid, man. I don't know. It's just,
Yeah, Stike says,
I don't know.
Stike says I'm right for a change. Brock did kill the Hardys in his debut. He then went on to kill Bubba Ray and Spike in another handicap match. Daniel Price says, I don't know if I'd go that far. Sullivan makes me think more like Snitsky punting babies than Juice freaking getting the Uber push. Yeah, until Lars, beat someone of consequence and not the old fogies on the roster, it is what it is. Berto says, Stike, that would be a smart thing to do, but Vince will probably do something like Lars and Truth teaming up versus Matt Hardy. Winner goes to SmackDown. They all get counted out, and they go to AEW.
Did you think he was going to do something more special than what he did tonight, though?
I mean, he put R-Truth through a table, and he beat up Matt after a stare down.
You didn't think he was going to come out and do something more, consequential, maybe interfere in that last match, something more special.
I don't know. I'm not even sure it wasn't taped because it was backstage. Yeah.
Maybe Vince changed his mind at the last second.
Vince changes his mind on everything at the last second. I'm surprised. I'm surprised he has any children. He didn't pull out at the last second and just not create them. Imagine a world with no Shane and no Stephanie. Oh, what a wonderful world it would be. So, earlier, everybody on the board, get your final thoughts ready. Vice, you can collect yours as well. Earlier, I mentioned, if those of you paying attention, that this is episode number 397. You know what that means? Right around the corner is our next landmark of 400. And guess what episode that just happens to line up with? That happens to line up with our Money in the Bank reaction show. So we're going to be reacting episode 400 to Money in the Bank. We're calling it 400 in the Bank. I hope you guys are here with us for it. We're going to have a lot of fun because I think it's going to be one of those like firework explosion level disasters. Like we're not talking like Titanic where we just watch the ship slowly sink for a few hours. We're going to see an epic level proportion of implosion somehow. This card is very weak. We have Shane and Miz again, Ray and Joe again. Yeah, Daniel Price says Chernobyl, bring it. Why not? What's your final thought, Vice?
Final thought. It's just been a clusterfuck lately. We all agree, from your show to online to everything, dude. Us fans, we're just kind of like sick of it. And
do you think we're
sick
fair?
of, like, the recycled storylines and just like everything feels so predictable. I'm hoping that we get some better shit soon, real soon.
Do you think that
it needs to change?
Do you think that we're too critical of us? Do you think we're shitting on it without reason, without explanation?
No. I mean, anyone who had, like, if you were to literally take someone who doesn't watch wrestling and just put them in a room to watch the last 3-4 months of wrestling, they would be talking about the same stuff we were talking about.
Well,
it's boring.
And who would
hard
be
to watch?
And who would be a fan anymore? Every one of them's fandom would just slowly die.
That's why ratings are down, and yeah, they jumped up a little bit last night because you kind of pushed that stuff was going to change. Obviously, when they do some hoopla online and they're like, "Oh, we're going to have some special shit tonight," and more people are going to view to see if it's really going to switch up. It's bad. It's got to change.
Berto says he'll be there for 400 in the bank because as long as I promise that Bryan will have his mic muted, but he doesn't know. I could do that at random times in the night because I am the pay-per-view host. Rob only took Rawsome back. He didn't take the pay-per-view.
This was a better show than last night.
Right. Good stuff, Vice. This is also from Berto. He says there's too many fans complaining for there not to be something wrong at this point. Right. I mean, no, we're not the cool kids who are sitting at the table going, "Oh yeah, New Kids on the Block suck." We're more into Motley Crue and Poison and rock metal hair bands. We're not like that. I know. I'm sure I just dated myself. But we're not doing that. We're saying this is not entertaining. You have the most talented fucking roster you've ever had, top to bottom, from a wrestling standpoint. You have, for the most part, fairly good gimmicks. The ones that you don't completely kill, like the original Bray Wyatt gimmick, those are what they are. But for the most part, you have good gimmicks. Even the way you change some character gimmicks and change them up, like the way you've made Sami Zayn a heel. You've got some stuff in the works. Why not use it? Why not do something with it? Instead, they do nothing, and they wonder why people don't tune in. I'm just saying that there was a teacher. Doesn't matter to tell you guys this. I am fucking horrible in science. I can't remember dick in science. I had a teacher that was both my homeroom teacher and my science teacher. I don't remember a damn thing he taught me. I'm not even sure which one of the science subjects he taught me, whether it was earth science, chemistry, whatever. No clue. I do remember he was my homeroom teacher. What I remember is this, that he taught me, though. He said there's one thing that you cannot get back, cannot replace, and that is time. And I think that fans have said, fuck it, I'm not watching 3 hours. I can spend 10 minutes reading somebody else's recap of it and go, damn, I'm not there. That's awesome. I'm glad I didn't waste the time. I'm being glass half full to at least be the other side, that maybe the reason it's gotten so far on the tipping scales is that so many people now are not watching and they're only getting the negative slant that everybody else is putting out there. That's the only thing I can possibly say out there to justify the alternate opinion is, if I tell you, hey, this movie is crap, Vice, when you go see it, you might have a preconceived notion about it that it's going to be crap, or that if you're reading a review, you're like, oh, I'm glad I didn't see this. This is that part Adam was talking about. That's crap, whatever it is. It's tough to get a negative endorsement and then think something's good on the back end. But at the same time, if you were good, you would get more positive endorsements overall. So I guess I talked my way in a circle.
I don't know if Stike says on the board that he's going to be at Money in the Bank, but I think the next Monday Night Raw, like the one right after, is the one in Albany where I'm going to be at. So if Money in the Bank is shit, don't worry. I'll pick up the shit for you on Monday.
All right.
That's basically how I feel.
Yeah, and you can bring a sign. You got us on there before, right? You got it.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna bring a sign.
There we go. Teddy, I teased episode 400, but Teddy was here briefly. He had to go. I think the time change when we spring forward really messes him up because that's like now it's even an hour later for him, so he just can't participate live on the board. But I know he better make a live appearance whenever we get to episode 420. Final thoughts for Soji. He says both Raw and SmackDown Live have had great matches as far as wrestling is concerned, and in this wild card. The problem is the idea of the wild card is being booked wrong. Yeah, like you have to start your show with two of them. You have to say others. You don't even stick to the rule you create. It's like Chronicles of Riddick. They created a sci-fi world and a character that has some, something special about him. Then they have people turn to ash when the sun hits them or the dark side of the moon comes, whatever the hell you want to call it there. But if he pours a bottle of water on his head and grabs a blanket, he can save a kid. Yeah. You're fucking sci-fi. Just write a rule that makes it more believable. Oh, yeah, they can do the Kessel Run in whatever parsecs. That didn't even make sense, but we bought it. That's the type of shit you do. This doesn't make sense. We're not buying it. Nothing's going right. Daniel Price says, SmackDown was here the night of Raw go-home show before Mania. He asked his son if he wanted to go. He watched 10 minutes, face-palmed himself, and said, no thanks. Says a lot when a 13-year-old says no. Yeah. And by the way, that might be part of it, Daniel Price. Number one, you're going so much later, and you're expecting these 13-year-olds to be awake till 11 o'clock on the East Coast to watch this. I wouldn't want my child to stay up for this and screw up their whole week's worth of sleep for school. And then number two, there's nothing worth keeping the attention span. You talked about this, Vice. You said sometimes you'll watch these episodes back on Hulu. They're not the same length. They've cut them down. No. They're much more watchable on Hulu.
They cut them down, and they changed obviously, they changed the crowd from chanting examples, CM Punk, shit like that. That's just muted with fucking, it's so stupid.
Yeah, I remember buying
it's stupid.
I remember buying the, what was it? I guess it might have been WrestleMania, I don't know, fucking 20? I don't remember what it was. But it was WrestleMania where Brock and Goldberg first fought, and Stone Cold was the ref, and they booed the shit out of him, and I bought the DVD, and it was totally edited. Like, that whole match was ringside mic only. They took a completely crowd
because you want the booed match.
Yeah,
you want to watch the real shit.
Hell yeah. I had that on the DVR, and the DVR reset, and I lost it, and I went and bought the replacement to hear the boos, and they totally doctored it. Sucks. Stike says, I'm looking forward to the PWX show that is going to be at the Cabarrus Arena because they are going to have a War Games match. Sure, it's not quite War Games because they don't own that, but I get what you mean. I can't wait for Double or Nothing, Berto says. I really hope they have good TV quality and their production is nice and clean. You know, with the exception of the backstage mic interview shit on NXT where they seemingly can't get a good microphone to be part of those interviews or whatever, with the exception of those or that one flaw, there's some good production value. Their stories are simple. They book it right. I know they have to book it that way because of tapings, but they should book it that way. And if you do that on the main roster, you'd see better results. If you shorten your time, maybe you'd keep the attention span of the younger audience more. 3 hours is a lot. 2 hours right behind it. I got 5 hours at the beginning of the week devoted to you. Who the fuck are you?
I agree. That makes complete sense. And the weird thing is, I never watch Impact Wrestling, but what he had just said that you were noting, I watched Impact the other day, like just a little bit of it. And if SmackDown or Raw could do a little bit of what they do, with the way that the show is just kind of geared, it would be better.
I feel like they can do that because they don't care. There's no legacy for them to like worry about. They're allowed to do that. They're gonna.
And I'm not an Impact fan, just to let you guys know.
Yeah, I found on the Charge Network. I didn't even realize I got the Charge Network, but I was flipping through the dial, and I do. I found on like Saturdays at midnight. You know, now that I'm married with kids, I don't go out on Saturdays. So, but on Saturday at midnight, I found that they were showing Ring of Honor on the Charge Network. So I've been watching a few episodes of that. The Ring of Honor has wrestling on par, I think, with the talent level of WWE's current stable, but they are definitely a step down in terms of creative and storyline.
Yeah. Even on Impact, it's just the camera views suck.
And that's what's so sad about WWE is they have the production value. Why they can't fucking use it is beyond me. Makes no sense. Let's see what else they're saying on the board. My gaming channel has better storylines than WWE. That's from Berto. That's so true.
Probably.
we are going to, by the way, I'm going to close on this. We are going to be watching Double or Nothing and reacting to it. So, at least you'll tune in that. That'll be a week after Money in the Bank. We haven't decided the exact time. I don't think we're going to be reacting live. I think we're just going to do a reaction show on the next day. We'll get the details figured out. For now, we're still planning for 400 in the bank. So that's closer on the horizon. Vice.
I just wanted to let you guys know. I wanted to thank Adam and Rob and all you guys at Markout. Thanks for having me on tonight, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. We'll see you next time, probably on the chat boards if Bob doesn't tie out the line. Soji at the end. Impact has changed. It's gotten better because they have nothing to prove. Seriously, Adam, why is Fox going to save SmackDown Live? Fox has nothing good currently. Oh, I don't look to me, Soji. I think Fox isn't even going to see SmackDown Live. Fox will not have SmackDown Live for much more than, I don't know, a quarter, 3 months, 90 days, and then it's going to go to FS1. It's just not going to happen. Berto said if you had to pay $60 for either Money in the Bank or Double or Nothing, what would you pay for? Oh, $60? No question. I would just, go to whichever one I don't have to pay more for. I mean that seriously. It is rough sitting in some of those seats for some of these long-ass shows. I have no problem sitting in the comfort of my own home with nothing but my friends surrounding me and watching it. I like going to certain live events, but there's always that dumbass near you that won't shut up, that's cheering about something. Who knows? You can't control the people you're hanging out with. There's always that idiot. I remember at WrestleMania NXT 3 years ago, whatever the hell it was, weekend, this girl next to me was drunk as fuck, and she wouldn't stop chanting for Nakamura. His name is not Nakamura, and we started kind of picking back at her, and her boyfriend didn't realize the size of our group or possibly the size of Bryan, and gave us some dirty looks. It was really funny. But anyway,
the last show I went with the sign for you guys in Albany last year.
Yeah,
I'm sitting next to this guy, and he fucking smells so bad of BO, and I'm like, oh man. And he starts talking to me, and he's like, yeah, I just drove here 6 hours from Western New York. I wanted to just see the show, and I'm like, you shouldn't have came because you reek, and I have to smell it all the. Dude, it was so bad.
Bang Bus on the board. He says, unlike WWE nowadays, AEW is coming to Cali. I did want to point that out. It seems like they do this friggin' loop where they don't even go past the Mississippi much anymore. They do a little bit of Texas and Oklahoma. And, of course, they'll go to L.A. when there's, maybe a pay-per-view that's worthy or something. But for the most part, they don't go out west very often anymore. And here we are, a month later, we're back in Kentucky. I feel like every other month we're doing the Cincinnati, Columbus, Cleveland loop. You add in Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, and there you go, Chicago. That's and then start from the beginning back in Manhattan. I don't know. It is what it is. There's been more. They've been in the Midwest for the last 2 months, Berto says. Yeah, so I am right. They're just traveling around in there. Makes no sense. We're going to talk more. We got 2 go-home shows next week, but then, like I said, we got 400 in the bank. That's going to be fun. Anaconda Vice, one more time. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Everybody else, tune in next time. Same Smark time, same Smark channel.
I'll catch you on the flip side.
Markdown Podcast is produced and edited by U-Record Studios and is recorded live from Charlotte, North Carolina. Subscribe, follow, and listen to us live following WWE programming on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook Live. Download the podcast by following us at podbean.com or subscribe on iTunes and Apple Podcasts. While you're there, go ahead and give us an honest and fair review and rating. Finally, if you have enjoyed our product and would like to see us grow, please donate to us by visiting the donation link below our live video, or you can donate via Venmo and Cash App at the handle Ravepro. That's Ravepro.
You're listening to the Electronic Media Collective Podcast Network. Yeah, it's a mouthful. For more great shows, visit electronicmediacollective.com.
Please,
listening to my voice. Take it from the wise old Jew.
You're welcome.